Hi, you're watching episode 219 of Nugget's Dungeon Terrain, and in recognition of my second book starting up again on Kickstarter, I thought it'd be a really good time to create some post-apocalyptic dungeon tiles. There'll be a link in the description below for the Kickstarter campaign. It'll also include a copy of my last book, Wastelands Highway. The tiles that I'll be building will build upon the set that I already have. These are 4x4 inch tiles with some slight boundaries that designate the entry and exit points. I'm going to build two different tiles. The first one, my aim is to build it as quickly as possible. The second one, I'm going to build a modular add-on, a Watchtower, a point in the game that allows you to see to other tiles so that someone with some kind of rifle or crossbow can help support the other players. Hunter-Gatherer is a co-op game. It's a dungeon crawler for 1 to 4 players set in a post-apocalyptic, zombie-infested world. What I'm trying to get into more is dungeon tiles that still allow you to somehow interact with dungeon tiles that you've already explored, to somehow bring them back meaningfully into play, instead of just ticking them off. I'll talk about that more as I get into the second build in the video. The bases that I'm building are 12 centimeters by 12 centimeters, and in this instance I'm just trying to reuse some of the scraps that I have from some of my other projects, hence the need to sand the edges as I started. The piece that I'm building first has a subdivision within its boundaries. The aim here is to try and allow opportunities for the players to divide and conquer the zombies, as well as opportunities for the players to become separated from each other. The walls, just like the base, are made of XPS foam. In this case, I have two butting up against each other, and I've done them in a fairly chunky size to make them look like cinder blocks instead of bricks. The subdivision within the tile will be made using some mesh from a fish tank filter, and the rest of the boundary will be made using corrugated card to represent corrugated roofing iron. If you go back and look at my other tiles as well, you'll see that most of the standard map tiles represent alleyways and crumbling city ruins, areas that people would walk between the tall buildings, staying low to the ground, but looking for opportunities for shelter, occasionally coming across areas that have been improvised in an attempt to try and protect someone from the zombies, but because they're empty, at some point they've obviously failed. Remember that super glue is the natural enemy of XPS foam. It'll melt the hell out of it, but baking soda neutralizes it. So if I am going to apply super glue directly to the foam, I can put a bit of baking soda down first, apply the super glue, and then cover it quickly. Here you can see that chalk pastels not only help to age and dirty up the surroundings, they also help to make things look rusty with the right colors applied to the right areas. We'll take a close-up look at that room finished at the end of the video, but the second room, and this is going to be an abandoned camp that has a watchtower built into it. The watchtower is going to be removable or modular so that it's easier to pack away, and if I don't want to have the watchtower, I don't need to put it up. There'll be a separate platform that the characters can use. In Hunter-Gatherer, there are pieces of terrain that can come into play that potentially can give you line of sight across to other map tiles. Think about something like a clock tower. Now if you put a character in that clock tower with a rifle or a crossbow, they can potentially use their line of sight over the walls that other characters can't see and help to pick off enemy and thin out the numbers. Some of these components that I'm adding now are leftovers from a DVD player that I pulled apart. In this instance, they'll look like they could be some kind of storage, but are mostly serving the function of holding up the platform and keeping it super strong. There's something quite fun about laying out the basic foundations of the map tile and then barricading it, making it look like someone tried to barricade it at least. Just like in a lot of zombie video games, in Hunter-Gatherer, having the high ground gives you quite an advantage and keeps you a little safer. So points like this are important to add in some of your map tiles if you're going to be using them to play this game. The two main struts of the Watchtower still have the points left in them, and I'm literally poking them into the XPS foam at the bottom. I'm going to leave those holes there so that each time I place the Watchtower, it's sitting firmly in that space. I then build the rest of the tower around that while they're in the position that I want, so that they're making contact with the other parts of the base. After making sure that the tower is tall enough so that miniatures can also stand underneath on that other platform level, I then build the rest up, including the area that they'll stand and a ladder that goes upwards on one side. Here are the finished map tiles in play, and you can see the blue character is surrounded by zombies in that bottleneck, while two characters stand on top of the watchtower with rifles, and they can cover him and pick some of those zombies off. Meanwhile, the fourth character is holding a larger zombie at bay near a sinkhole. Here you can see how all of the map pieces fit into one container with a little bit of space left for that watchtower that can come off.